time.
It's okay.
Oh, well, thank you. So nice. All right. So here's the funny guy I was talking about. You couldn't see. I thought I was making a funny joke that no one laughed about. That should have been my first clue. Okay, fine. So, like I said, the moment that I talked about is me getting in my car and coming at 7:30. Okay? And there are lots of causes. So there are lots of reasons why I got in my car and came to my job. I'm going to talk about some of those causes, and then you're going to get a chance to make one of these for yourself. Short-term causes have this dashed line around them. So I have a job teaching grade 4, and I go to Howard Robertson Public School to do that teaching, even though you don't all go to Howard. Actually, none of you go to Howard Robertson Public School. But that's a short-term cause. That's something recent. Like today, I have a job that I teach grade 4. So that's a reason why I came to work. Another short-term reason is that my alarm clock woke me up on time. So my alarm clock helped me get out of bed on time, and I could do all the things I need to do before I get in my car and go to work. Let's stay with these short-term reasons. Another short-term reason is my car started and it had gas in it. If my car didn't start, or if my car didn't have gas, I wouldn't have been able to come to work. So this was a reason, this was a cause for me to get to work. Some longer-term causes here. I'm just going to shut down the chat. All right, some longer-term causes. I went to university to earn a teaching degree. So that happened a long time ago, but if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have this job and I wouldn't have to go to it at 7:30 this morning. Let's think about this. There's a law in Ontario that says education must be provided for all students. So that's like a big picture idea. So if there wasn't a law that said education needed to be provided to students, then they wouldn't need teachers. So there's a law. That's one of the reasons why I have the job I have. Well, this is interesting. COVID-19, which is almost a year old, that's created unique options for school, and that allows me to teach my students. What did I say? Allowing me to teach distant from my students. So we're not in the same building, but we're in the same class. So that's another cause for why I go to Howard Robertson and you are all at your houses. And down here, it says I went to school when I was younger. So if I didn't go to school and get an education, I wouldn't have the job that I have. Okay, so we have a difference between short-term and long-term causes that lead up to this moment. And this moment is happening today for me. Okay, let's check out some of the consequences. So some of the consequences for me coming to work today, well, in the short term, I'll be able to support and teach my students as long as I remember to share my screen when I say I'll share my screen. I can keep students safe when I'm supervising them. So I guess if I saw something happen to a student on camera, I could follow up and make sure you're safe. But I have students here that I supervise at recess. That's why our meeting was a little bit later today. And I have students I supervise after school. I walk kindergartens to their bus, and I help keep those students safe. So if I didn't come to my job, they would have to find someone else to do that. If I come to work, then I'll get paid. I'll get to keep my job, and then I can get money for work, and then that money can go to help my family, right? So that's why most people have jobs, so that they can make money for the things that they need. And the other short-term thing, well, if I leave at 7:30, then I will arrive to work on time. So there's another short-term consequence for my decision of leaving my house at 7:30. And there's some longer-term consequences. So if I keep going to work, well, I'll be a very small piece of each of my students' education. So when you look back on grade 4 and think about that interesting year, you'll know that Mr. Davis was your teacher, and hopefully I helped you learn something. That would be wonderful. I will use this work experience to help me improve as a teacher. So I come to my job. I'm learning so much this year with things being online, and I'm able to learn more and more. So the more I work, the more I learn. I'm really fortunate to have a job like that. I'll be able to use the money I make for my family, and one day I will retire. So one day I won't have to work anymore. Hopefully I'll have a little bit of money saved up so that I can be old and not work. That would be great. All right. Well, let's take a look at what you are being asked to do. It's the same thing. So here, your name in a picture if you wanted to draw one or stick one on there. I don't know if you have one that you could use. Definitely ask permission before you go sticking a picture onto a page. And you're going to be thinking about a moment in time for you. And you could also think about this moment where you are working on your schoolwork. So if you're working on this page, you're working on your schoolwork. So think about some of the reasons that have got you to this point. You can be as creative as you want with those reasons. Think about some of the reasons that got you to this point. And then think about some of the things that could happen for you after or if you do this job. So you're working on your schoolwork. Well, one of the things that might happen for you is you might finish your lesson and submit it. Well, that's good. But you could also be creative and think about, well, if I keep coming to school and I keep doing my job, what are some of the things, what are some of the outcomes or things that could happen for me if I keep doing my job at school? All right. Does anyone have an example? You could think even further. And what I mean by that is if you...
Let Rich and donate money?
Well, if you keep getting good grades, maybe that ends up leading to you maybe choosing to do a job where you would need to have good grades to maybe get into a school after high school. And that's thinking way down the road. So that's a long-term consequence. Okay, I love that I'm seeing some people take some notes. I'm going to put these up on the class website.